Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us on our Young Learners Agent webinar today. As you know, it's been a tough 2 years, so we're all looking forward to summer this year. I'll introduce you to Alex, who's our Director of Young Learners, and we've got Casey joining us today, who's our Operations Manager. So they're just going to go over the programs and a few more details regarding the summer courses this year. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. We will have a question and answer session at the end, so if you can wait until then, that would be great. But over to you, Alex.
Thanks, Shema, and welcome everyone. I just want to reiterate what Shema said there. Thanks for joining us. It's so good to be able to speak to agents again, yeah, we certainly are seeing the green shoots of recovery, and we're cautiously optimistic about the summer this year. We're also hugely excited about the prospect of running face-to-face camps again in a post-COVID world, or at least a living with and traveling with COVID world. And we want to thank you for your support over the last 2 years. We're aware it's been difficult for everyone, and we're also aware that parents are still going to be nervous about sending their children away this summer, and that's understandable. As a parent myself, I would feel nervous about sending my son away, and we want to work with you and support all of our agents and partners to reassure parents that their children are going to be safe at a International House London summer school. So we're here to help, and I certainly hope to cover lots of points around safety, well-being at our centres during this session today. So I'm going to begin with a quote, and anyone that saw the presentation I did last year will recognise the quote. But I think it's equally as important and pertinent today as it ever has been. So we know that our industry, well, young learners, is built around parental investment in their children's future. And that's something that we take incredibly seriously. We aim to provide life-changing and transformational experiences that encourage students to become more confident and independent, to grow as individuals, and to develop a set of skills that will set them up for future success. Whether that's future academic success in studying at an English-speaking university, or career success, helping them secure their dream job. So I'll talk you now through the aims and what we hope to achieve today. We want to highlight the centres that we'll be running in 2022 and introduce the new courses that we've added to our portfolio. So we'll be running 3 core centres this summer, which are Oxford, Frensham and Moulton. And we'll also be offering Edinburgh for closed groups. In terms of new courses, we have 4 new courses which we've added to the portfolio for 2022, and I'll go into more details later on. We also want to provide you with key information and highlight selling points for each of the centres that will allow you to promote and sell all of our summer courses for us this year. Again, going back to safety and making sure that students are well looked after, we want to share with you our COVID secure measures and reassure you that providing safe learning environments is our top priority. Casey will cover this section, and he'll also talk about excursions, activities, risk assessments, policies, etc. And we also want to, at the end, share some of the steps that we're taking to enhance the student experience across all of our programs at all of our centres. And as Shema mentioned, we'll leave time at the end to answer any questions that you have relating to our programs. But please feel free to type your questions into the chat box as we go along. Shema will collate the questions and we'll do our very best to answer them for you at the end of the session. We'll also be creating an FAQ document, which we'll circulate later in the week along with a recording of the session. So I'm going to begin with the good news, and certainly very welcome news for us, and I'm sure for you as well. And it's relating to the easing of the remaining COVID testing requirements. So the 11th of February is a big date for us, and from 4 o'clock on the 11th of February, all COVID testing requirements will be removed for eligible fully vaccinated passengers. So I mean, that's great news. It means it's going to make it a lot easier for all students to travel, but particularly for any group leaders that are traveling with your groups. And even better news is that this also applies to all under 18s. So it means that groups of young learners will be able to travel without having to test on arrival or quarantine, irrespective of where they're traveling from or their vaccine status. So very positive, and we're very happy with that news, and I'm happy to share that with you. Also, 16 more countries will be added to the UK's approved vaccine list. So it just means it's going to be easier for group leaders or agents, anyone that wants to come over in the summer to travel from these countries now as well. And adults not recognised as fully vaccinated under UK travel rules will only be required to take a pre-departure test and a COVID PCR test on day 2. So that's a huge change. So no more quarantine for unvaccinated travellers. And we've also learned that the government plan to introduce a much simpler version of the passenger locator form. So the passenger locator form, everyone will need to complete before travelling to the UK, but it should, by the summer, be a much easier document to complete. We're also working with our insurance company to look at what our policy currently covers. So at the moment, COVID is seen as a known risk, and therefore there is no cover pre-arrival. So if flights that have to be cancelled before the course starts, then the insurance doesn't cover that. However, as soon as they arrive in the UK, they are fully covered. And certainly if they become ill while they're in the UK, then our insurance covers that. We are also reviewing our policy and looking at a different provider, and hopefully they'll be able to provide additional cover that surrounding cancellation, and certainly cancellation related to COVID. So we'll keep you updated on that. And of course, if students have to cancel a trip up to 10 days before traveling, then we will refund in full. And obviously, students will be able to postpone or defer to a later course if that's what they want to do, or equally travel later in the summer if they're able to travel. So again, this is another slide that some of you might recognize, and it's a bit of a test for you. So do you know the top 5 skills employers want today? I'm going to give you a minute or two, and I would like you to type your suggestions into the chat box, and Shema might share some of the answers that come up. Very good. I can see teamwork, leadership, proactivity, IT skills, English language, problem solving is a good one, communication, leadership. Excellent. Some great ideas there. So I think we got pretty much all of them, barring adaptability there, I think. So the top 5: problem solving, teamwork, communication, adaptability, and interpersonal skills. What is surprising is that a global survey in 2018 found that most university graduates don't have these skills. The good news, however, is that all of our schools, all of our courses at International House London Young Learners provide all of these skills. There's a real focus on developing soft skills and particularly a range of 21st century skills. And again, we'll go into a little bit more detail around some of our specialist courses later on. So we have a set of beliefs and values that are embedded across everything that we do at International House, and particularly across our young learner courses. So we believe in connecting the world and fostering international friendships. We believe in educating beyond language. Yes, students will receive top quality tuition from our highly experienced and qualified teachers, but they get so much more than that on a young learner course. They get a fully immersive and culturally enriching experience with us. And as I mentioned before, we really hope that they grow in confidence and independence and also gain the soft skills that they need for future success. We also believe in inspiring people to unlock their potential and bringing people together. And this is something that's so important to us. It's something that we love doing every single year, is getting students and group leaders from all over the world and having them in the UK and being able to deliver our courses. That's something we've not been able to do for 2 years. And I think this year, when we're able to bring people together again, it's going to be really, really special and something that we're really looking forward to. We're also incredibly proud of our green credentials. So we were the first language school in the UK to offset carbon emissions for all flights for young learner courses. That's something that we're going to continue doing this year and into the future as well. This supports the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are a fundamental part of our World Leader course, which is part of our Future Leader portfolio. So again, another example of how our beliefs and values are embedded across our syllabus and curriculum for all of our courses. Again, safety and well-being is really important to us this year. Casey's going to talk more about that later on. However, we'll have 4 managers on site across our centres with a real focus on welfare and well-being. All of our managers, in fact, we've recruited most of our managers already for the summer courses. We do have plenty of returning managers, certainly senior managers, and we're beginning an online training program with them next month. This will take us through to the beginning of the summer, where we'll also run a face-to-face senior management training and induction for managers. So this year, there's increased training, both in terms of first aid, safeguarding, and sort of the course that we're running pre-summer, which we're able to do online. So extra training for senior managers this year. So I'll talk you through now the 3 core centres that we're running. Oxford is our flagship centre. It is our largest centre, and it provides a safe learning environment within walking distance of the city centre. As you know, the centre has incredible facilities and resources. We have 32 tennis courts, a cricket pitch and pavilion. It's a dance studio, a leisure centre, state-of-the-art concert hall, which is actually brand new. So, and we'll have access to that for certain events this summer, as well as its own golf course. Oxford is a small, safe and beautiful city full of culture and history. So we run a range of different courses at Oxford. We've got our Active English, which is our most popular course. All courses are for ages 12 to 17 in Oxford. English Plus, where students can take a language cert exam as part of the course. And Oxford is also home to our Future Leaders portfolio. And these are courses I'm particularly proud that we have. And I think they're so useful for young people that are looking to go to university or find a job. And the range of soft skills, 21st century skills that they develop and the sort of the collaborative approach to the courses and the focus on projects and a tangible outcome at the end of the course, I think are really, really good, and very excited to be running these courses in Oxford again this summer. So Frensham, another one of our core centres, a new centre for us this year. We were hoping to run it for the first time in 2020. And it is it's really impressive buildings, impressive grounds and woodlands, magnificent views of the Surrey countryside. So at the centre you get a rural feel, but equally it's within easy reach of London, so students can visit London at the weekend, and equally for flying, it's accessible to major airports. I've been there a few times over the last 2 years. I always enjoy my drive there because you drive through beautiful countryside, and I can say that I've tested the catering facilities there, and they are some of the best I've had at any summer school. So yeah, children will be well looked after and well fed at Frensham. So as I said, yeah, traditional academic buildings, impressive grounds, and lots of woodland. We also have 2 treehouse classrooms that we can use. So that'll be really exciting for students there as well. Again, lots of great facilities and resources at the centre. Frensham is available to younger students, so we run our Discover English course for 8 to 11-year-olds, as well as Active English and English Plus, which are kind of our core courses, also available in Oxford, as mentioned previously. But in Frensham, we're also going to be launching STEM and Performing Arts Academy, which I'll go into in more detail later on. And finally, Moulton, our third core centre. So Moulton is a specialist land-based college with a focus on training young people in skills associated with the natural, built and recreational environment. So at the centre, it's part of a working farm. So they are set on 450 hectares of farmland. They have some rare breed animals there. So we've got some llamas, they have meerkats, and there's also a reptile house. So really exciting things that students can see and do on site. It is a rural location. It's a large campus, but a very safe campus. And I think it's nice that students get a bit of freedom to do what they want on campus while they're there, knowing that it is safe and it is secure. In terms of the courses, we have Active English, English Plus, Animal Welfare, which is kind of a specialist course that we offer in Moulton, and it basically uses the animal welfare department that they have, and we use some of their staff to deliver that program for us in the afternoons. We also have introduced English Experience this year, and again I'll go into that in a little bit more detail as well. So yeah, we'll go look at that now. English Experience. So it's a course that we're running only in Moulton this year. It's a more economical course. So students still get the 15 hours of tuition as they would on any of our other courses, but in the afternoons, they have activities that are led by our activity leaders, by our own staff, rather than professional coaches, which we use for Active English. So yeah, I think it's a really good course, and a slightly more budget course, which makes it more affordable if students don't have the finances to support one of our more premium specialist courses. So we'll also be running STEM for the first time. And again, this is something that we're very excited about. We've been working in collaboration with Lego Education over the last 2 or 3 years to get this course to where it is now. So it is a specialist course, so we need a higher level of English than usual, which I think we're saying is B1 level for STEM. Lessons in the morning are delivered by our teachers, and they cover theoretical lessons on classes based around STEM-related themes and topics. Because it's a fully immersive course and it's an academy experience, students are separate from the general English students. And as I say, their lessons focus specifically on STEM-related subjects in the morning. We then hand over to our partners at LEGO Education, who deliver the practical element of the course in the afternoon. And this is where students get to program and use the LEGO Mindstorms robots. They get hands-on experience of building a mobile app or a game. And we really encourage students to focus on developing an app or a game that solves either a gap in the market or a social issue. And the STEM-related trips on the course are to the Science Museum in London and Winchester Planetarium. Okay, so on to Performing Arts, which is one of our brand new courses for 2022. So we'll be running Performing Arts in Frensham. Again, it's a fully immersive academy experience where students will develop skills in directing, costume, light, sound, and characterization. And it's basically a course for anyone that's interested in pursuing a career in the performing arts. And the course culminates with a showcase at the end of the course. So there's lots of preparation for that showcase towards the end. Again, it's a specialist course, so it's level B2+. This course, we only have one intake, so it's just starting on the 27th of July for 2 weeks. And yeah, they basically, I'll show you the timetable actually in a second. So as I've said, they develop a range of skills around performing arts and deliver the showcase at the end of the course. And as you can see from the timetable here, we have performing arts lessons in the morning, which are delivered by our performing arts specialist teacher. And then they work on, they have workshops and project work in the afternoon. And a lot of that is preparing for their showcase on the final day of the course. So again, another academy experience that we're very excited to launch this year. It fits into our specialist courses. We're also excited to launch our Outdoor Learning Academy. So this is a course that we offer in Edinburgh. So it will be available for closed groups over the summer, but equally we can run the course for closed groups year round in Edinburgh. So during the course, students develop a range of personal, social, and technical skills in the natural world, and they explore topics relating to the environment, sustainability, and the natural world. And what we wanted to do was use the amazing grounds and woodlands that we have on campus at our centre in Edinburgh. And I think particularly in a post-COVID world, we wanted to make sure that we gave students the opportunity to get out of the classroom and to reconnect with the outdoors. And again, obviously much safer in that they are outdoors for most of the course there. So again, specialist course B1 level plus. We have a couple of start dates available in 2022, and it's a 2-week course. So again, some of the learning outcomes. I've mentioned the topics. They also develop a range of outdoor first aid and rescue skills, complete an orienteering challenge, complete a full day hike in the Pentland Hills, which are the hills that surround Edinburgh, develop long-term environmentally sustainable attitudes and practices. So again, that fits in with our sort of overall ethos and our beliefs and values. And one thing that we really want to try to do in all of our specialist courses is make sure that there are tangible outcomes leading to a recognised qualification. So as part of the Outdoor Learning Academy, students work towards the Outdoor Learning Award, which is a a level 2 qualification. It's a Scottish qualification. And they will also engage with nature and the environment to develop outdoor competence. So yeah, a great course, and we're very excited to be able to bring that to you this year. In terms of the timetable, they have lessons in the morning where, as I say, they focus on the environment, sustainability, and the natural world. And then from the afternoons, they're all outside. We're working with the forest school coordinator at the centre. So we are, as I've said, hugely excited about face-to-face courses, and we fully expect to be able to run face-to-face programs this summer. But I thought we'd also just touch on the success of our online courses in 2020 and 2021. So we've run a range of courses, as I'm sure you're all aware. We've had excellent feedback from our students and a diverse range of nationalities on those courses. I think what we've heard from some of our competitors is that they didn't feel that their courses translated very well to online delivery, that students weren't engaged. However, I think we've done really well to keep students engaged in our courses and to also integrate a social program onto the courses. And yes, and it equally makes courses a lot more accessible to people. So we are going to continue with online courses in 2022. And if you want a course outside of our set courses, which you can see on our website, then we can create bespoke courses for you. Some of our most successful courses in 2021 were bespoke courses, in particular our Future Leaders online program. So we ran a very successful Future Leader program with a group of schools in Mexico for a month last summer, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed working on it and meeting some of the students. I went in as a guest speaker and watched all of the presentations at the end, and it was just absolutely phenomenal, some of the business ideas they came up with. So it's very similar to our face-to-face option, but again, it makes it more accessible if students aren't able to travel to the UK. So as you'd expect, focuses on entrepreneurial thinking, collaboration, and developing skills and business acumen. And as well as our summer courses, we also offer year-round courses. So these courses are available in Edinburgh and London, and of course we offer courses online for groups as well. And with this, it's basically any of our advertised courses you can see on the website we can run for groups, but equally we can build a bespoke course for your group that's tailored to the individual needs and interests of your group. So please do get in touch with us. As I say, either Edinburgh or London, and we can do either homestay or residential in both of those locations. I thought I would finish this part of the presentation by talking about the success of our in-country projects last year. So whilst we were unable to deliver face-to-face programs in the UK, we were able to deliver some very successful programs in China, which was great and something that we're very proud of. So in China last year, we taught over 500 students across 5 locations who were studying 8 different courses. So a range of different courses, from our standard general English courses to more specialist courses focusing on, well, a Harry Potter course, scientific exploration, uni preparation, and soft skills. We also ran a summer school in Italy as well, which was hugely successful. So we can basically run, again, any of our courses, or create a bespoke course for you anywhere in the world. So if you've got students that aren't able to travel this year, then we can travel to them. We send a team of teachers across, or equally recruit a team of teachers in country and deliver one of our IH London programs for you in country. So again, just makes the courses more accessible particularly to markets that perhaps wouldn't traditionally travel to the UK over the summer for one of our traditional summer courses. We'll now move on to safety and well-being, and Casey will take over now.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'd like to begin by telling you that student safety and well-being is our utmost priority, and from the minute the students arrive in the UK and meet our dedicated team members until they're back with their families, we will absolutely ensure that they are well looked after. To do this, we take very specific precautions. So first and foremost, we apply risk assessments to every aspect of our courses, both on-site, so during activities, lessons, and across the wider campuses, as well as off-site during excursions. But we also incorporate elements from third-party suppliers, risk assessments such as taxi and coach companies and attractions. Aside from being risk assessed, all of our interactions with students follow COVID-safe measures. This means that we encourage everyone at the center to social distance wherever possible and frequently wash their hands. We will have hand sanitizing stations placed throughout the campus, and our teams will carry hand sanitizer as well. For additional protection, we encourage everyone to wear masks, and we will ensure to follow WHO, English UK, who are our accrediting body, and government guidance at all times. One of the ways in which we determine the safety of our operation is by using risk assessments. Now, risk assessments are made up of specific criteria, which are all thoroughly evaluated by multiple senior team members before the students encounter any aspect of the center. We not only complete risk assessments for lessons, activities, and excursions, but also for residential aspects such as virus outbreaks and theft. Risk assessments identify potential hazards, their severity and priority, and outline procedures to be followed to promote the safety and welfare of everyone at the centers. Looking at our social programs, these consist of 3 key elements. On-site activities, off-site excursions, and ensuring the students' pastoral needs are met. Our activities are designed to use appropriate locations across our center's campuses. For example, if we have access to tennis courts at a center, such as at Oxford, where we have quite a few of them, we will ensure that we have tennis balls and rackets for the activities. Now, we do encourage that students bring their own equipment wherever possible, though all of our equipment will be cleaned and sanitized after each use. We also aim to run the majority of our activities outside, both to expose the students to fresh air and provide more space for them to enjoy themselves. Looking at excursions, this is where we give the students an opportunity to safely explore new locations, visit venues of historical significance, and popular landmarks. We also, this also allows students to truly immerse themselves in the local culture in a safe and fun setting. Now, different centers offer different excursions. For example, Oxford visits London twice, once visiting the Tower of London and going on a river cruise before visiting Buckingham Palace and Leicester Square and all of the fun shops in that area. Whereas the second excursion visits Kensington Palace, Oxford Street, and the British Museum. Looking at Moulton visits London as well, but it also visits the Harry Potter studio tour, which, as someone who's been there 6 times, I'm still interested after all of these visits. And Frensham visits Brighton and London. What we also offer are optionals, and these take place on transfer days, and these are additional full-day excursions. So if the group are staying for 2 weeks, their free Wednesday could be spent visiting a different attraction, such as, for example, visiting the Harry Potter studio if, let's say, they're at Oxford and it's not part of the standard program. However, the most important factor is the pastoral care that our teams provide. Our teams are trained to recognize and address the welfare needs of the students, but also those of the group leaders. And we've outlined clear steps for our teams to follow to quickly and effectively respond to a variety of situations, both preventatively and reactively. So finally, I'd like to look at our response to emergency situations. And this, of course, does include COVID, but there are some other elements that I'd like to discuss with you. So we have strict measures in place to address difficult and unforeseeable circumstances at a moment's notice. To ensure we provide the highest level of support, we thoroughly train our teams on how to conduct themselves and manage anyone in their care in the event of any disturbance to the expected program. For example, we have designated safe spaces, which are specific locations within major cities, which are shared with our teams and any relevant third-party suppliers, such as coach companies, to know where to safely wait with the group until they can be collected by the coach in the event of a terrorist attack. Where COVID-19 or any viral outbreak is concerned, we have policies, protocols, and procedures in place to be followed to ensure the safety and well-being of anyone at our centers. As you may already know, we do have a quarantine program ready to be used if needed. However, we also have allocated rooms for isolation following a positive test, as well as providing lateral flow and PCR tests where needed, and strong welfare teams to oversee and manage the entire process. We've also implemented additional steps into how we can best support you in these trying times. For example, if a group leader tests positive, a member of the center's welfare team will step in to look after the group until either a replacement can be sent or until the group leader recovers. While the group leader is recovering, our teams will of course ensure that they are well looked after, so meals, tests, and general assistance. Our teams complete first aid training that includes understanding how to provide the highest level of care in a COVID world. For example, how to safely perform CPR in a pandemic. Looking at our staff, they will be required to test regularly, and on-site testing will be available for groups, and indoor lessons and activities will be well ventilated with open windows at all times. With a strong focus on student well-being, a dedicated welfare manager and welfare team, we will ensure to promote mindfulness and well-being throughout our programs, in addition to exercise to keep both mind and body active. So here's a quick breakdown of everything that our centers look at specifically to keep our wider operation COVID secure.
Okay, thanks, Casey. Some really, really important and very useful information there. So thanks for sharing. Again, if there's any questions around anything that Casey's talked about, we'll leave time at the end to answer those for you. So I'm just going to finish by talking about the experience. As I've mentioned already, it's all about experience for us. It's about providing these unforgettable experiences for our students when they're with us in the UK. And this year more than ever, we're really keen to provide students with the best experience and really enhance the student experience at every single step of the journey. So we have, and again, this is something that's been ongoing. So I did mention it last year as well. We have identified our 11 moments of truth. And we're now working on ways to enhance the student experience at every single touch point. So you can see that starts with the agent and the booking process. and then we focus on arrival at the airport. So that's everything from who's there to greet them, what they're wearing, thinking about how we want our students to feel, and how we get them from the airport safely to the centre. And as you can see, we've mapped that journey out all the way through to graduation and the end of the course, and then to hopefully keeping in touch. And it is a circle, because we expect that students will return and then start the cycle all over again. So our aim is to create memorable experiences and emotional connections for all of our students at every stage of the journey. And so, for example, in the budget this year, we've written in a surprise and delight element for each centre, where centre managers and our teams at the centres can provide a surprise and delight moment for the students. So whether that's ice creams on a very hot day, or treating them to something special when they're out on an excursion. It's basically something that's unexpected that they'll remember, and that is seen as a standout moment for the students. And again, it's something that we'll be working with certainly our team of managers in the online training. There'll be a focus on customer experience and how they can enhance the customer experience. When I say customer experience, I'm talking about student experience, particularly while they're with us at one of our centres over the summer. And I'm going to end with a quote, because I began with a quote. And again, it's basically just focusing on the importance of children, and the fact that they are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. And again, it's our responsibility as education providers to provide them with the skills and the tools that they need to become the leaders of tomorrow. And we'll now move on to any questions.
Thank you, Alex. So I've been collating all the questions. If we start off with, so someone's asking, can you accept 11-year-olds at Oxford or Moulton centres?
Unfortunately, we can't. Certainly, Oxford are very clear that it is a centre for older students, and we can only accept 12 to 17-year-olds at Oxford. For Oxford, we see that as a positive, because it means that the older students that do go to Oxford, they're more mature, and it also fits in with the more academic sort of courses in terms of the future leaders that we run at Oxford. Moulton, we have asked that question, and it's certainly something that we're working on for future years. However, for 2022, Moulton will just be 12 to 17. So all bookings for 8 to 11-year-olds should be sent to Frensham, which again, it's a great centre, and it's a brilliant location for the younger students as well as the older students. They have a separate boarding house, which will be for the younger students, and a separate sort of set of classrooms. So it's great that they can be kept completely separate from the older students for tuition and activities, but then they can then mix at dinner times and in the evenings if they want, obviously with staff supervision. We also have a much I don't know what to say, larger or smaller ratios for the younger students on site.
So would that be the same then? Because for a 6-year-old to Frensham Centre, are they allowed if the mother's going to bring them and pick them up? So they don't stay on campus, they just attend the day course?
So they'll be there as a day student.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with that, but I would need to run that by the centre to make sure they're comfortable having a 6-year-old on site, even if it's just during the day. But certainly in terms of integrating into our programmes, we don't have a problem with that. Okay,
and some agents are asking about Elsmere and Edinburgh for 2022. So if you can just.
Of course. So unfortunately, we've made the decision to drop Elsmere from our portfolio for 2022. What we're seeing is that demand hasn't returned the way that we wanted it to. It is still quite depressed in terms of volume. We have certain markets that are unable to travel. So what we decided to do is just focus on the 3 core centres that we covered in the presentation there to ensure that we get a good nationality mix, and we can get centres that feel busier, and again, we can provide the best possible student experience at those centres. So no Elsmere for 2022. However, that's not to say that we won't reintroduce Elsmere for 2023. And we can also share with you that we are also exploring some exciting new locations for 2023, where we certainly expect to be sort of return to growth. So we'll keep you posted on any developments for new locations for 2023 as well.
Okay, thank you. Would it be possible to use the golf course on campus? Is golf going to be part of the afternoon activities? And I suppose we can extend that to other facilities as well, for example, swimming pools.
Casey, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah. So I think with regard to that, it's a matter of interest. If we have, frankly, enough students to make the course viable, we're happy to run it. Because, well, Oxford is a wonderful campus and has the facilities, but it has to do, I think, with the amount of interest that we get. As for swimming pools, there's a swimming pool at Frensham, which we can use. The swimming pool at Oxford, though, is managed by a private health club and not by the campus itself, so it is actually separate.
However, we do have access to the swimming pool, and we can use it. We're not, obviously we don't offer swimming as an active option in Oxford, but it could be, we can use the swimming pool and other facilities at the health centre, leisure centre, as part of our activity programme. We just need to book the slots in advance.
So can you just mention a few activities that might be available for students to sign up for on campus for the afternoon, please?
Yep, there's a variety of sport activities, from rugby, cricket, football, tennis, really a volleyball, really a wide selection of various sports. Most of all 3 centres have an abundance of outdoor space, so there really is quite a lot that can be done at all of those, making the evening activities particularly exciting because we have access to use the wider grounds. As far as indoor activities go, quizzes, challenges, arts and crafts, there's a lot that can be done.
Perfect.
And again, across, sorry, just to add there, across the activities that we run, there is a focus on sort of teamwork, collaboration, all the soft skills that we develop in our courses. That also translates to the activity program as well. So loads of fun activities, but there's always an element of developing a set of skills as part of the activities as well.
So just to carry on from that, what optional trips will there be available for students at Frensham for them to purchase whilst they're there?
Yep. So the optionals at Frensham are currently an additional trip to London, for example. The standard London trip across all centres is a visit to the Tower of London. They'll then hop on a cruise down the river, getting off at Westminster, and then get to see all of the walk past Westminster Abbey and Buckingham Palace and the Horse Guards Parade before ending up at Leicester Square, where they'll get to do M&M's World and the Lego store, which is always very exciting. Let's not forget Kingdom of Sweets, which is equally popular, is right there. But if groups decide, hey, we'd like to see Kensington Palace and the British Museum, that's definitely an additional trip that can be added on as an optional. The other trip that we're doing is to Reading, which has a really nice, it is a city in its own right, but it's smaller and quite safe to walk through, and it has a nice large shopping center. as well, and a nice pedestrian area to enjoy. Other trips which are equally popular would be Harry Potter. Now that will need to be booked well in advance because it's not a secret, but Harry Potter tickets are notoriously difficult to get hold of. So we're happy to book that so long as it's booked way in advance. It's not necessarily something that we can guarantee at the last minute.
Okay, perfect. And then another question was, say the father or mother are studying here in London, Covent Garden, would it be possible to then arrange a day trip for them to go, you know, with the child who may be in Frensham, Oxford or Malton?
Yeah, absolutely. All that we would ask is that it's arranged ahead of time, and that the parents sign the student out of the camp, and then they can either come and visit the student on site. But generally, parents like to come, pick their student up, take them off for a day, go out and about, do their own thing, and then drop the students back once they've finished. So as long as all the paperwork's completed, then we have no problem with that at all.
And so would you recommend Frensham for 16 to 17-year-olds, or do you think they'll feel lost amongst the youngsters because we have 8 to 11-year-olds there as well?
I think all of the centres that we've talked about today are suitable for older students, and certainly the types of courses that we offer, certainly the specialist courses at Frensham would be great for the older students. I think because, as I mentioned before, we're able to separate the younger students at Frensham, I don't think they would feel lost at all. I think that what we want to have with Frensham is a site this year that can facilitate younger students as well as older students. So yeah, I think it really depends on the course that they're interested in and the type of centre they want to go to. But Frensham is suitable for and I think appealing for 16, 17-year-olds as well. But equally so are Malton and Oxford. So it depends kind of the course that they want and the location, equally the trips that they want to go on and the extras that they get. So yeah.
So somebody's asking, if the students arrive in a group, will they be sharing with other international students accommodation?
Yes, they will. It's important to us that students that arrive as a group are mixed up, and we have a really good nationality mix, both for classrooms and the tuition element, plus activities, and also in accommodation. We just feel that it sort of maximizes the opportunity to practice English if they're sharing with certainly the accommodation with a student from a different nationality.
And how do we handle students' birthdays? So if they're on campus and it's their birthday.
Casey, do you want to handle that one?
So there is, of course, well, our center teams, predominantly the welfare team, will make sure that we can do cake and candles. Oftentimes, students in the past have liked to celebrate their birthdays just with their group. Obviously, if they're an individual student, we'll probably make it a slightly smaller affair with their group of friends, but we'll make sure that there are cake and candles. I know lighting fires in an enclosed space is a fire hazard, but we'll make sure that it's kept safe. But birthdays should absolutely be celebrated, and we'll make sure that they have a good time.
Perfect. And guys, will we be running Winter Young Learner courses in 2023 in London in January?
Yes, absolutely. It's a good question, and sorry, something that I should have included in the presentation there. We're already planning our winter courses, so we'll have our standard sort of Explore London course, where they'll have tuition in the mornings and then be out and about sightseeing in London in the afternoon, as well as our Future Leader courses running throughout January in 2022. We've already getting a lot of requests from Latin America and yeah, we certainly hope that we can get some other nationalities onto those courses as well.
That's actually another popular question about nationality mix. So because in the past, obviously, I think I'll answer that one, because in the past we've had a percentage, we capped it at 20-25%. I think going forward, we'll probably continue that to ensure that we do have a good nationality mix, and we're able to accommodate the students, especially when it comes to accommodation, make sure that they're placed with students of a different nationality or language spoken, so that they're always encouraged to speak in English. The last
I guess, sorry, Shema,
guys,
I guess this year there is the caveat that certain markets aren't able to travel this year. So whereas we would normally expect to have higher volumes of students from a wider range of markets and therefore a wider range of nationalities, that might not be possible this year. However, we fully expect to be welcoming students from all of our markets in 2023. So for 2022, yes, there will be nationality mix. We'll do our very best. And then in 2023, we'll integrate the other students into the mix as well.
So another question surrounding COVID. If a student has tested positive, how long will they need to be in quarantine for?
So if a student tests positive on a lateral flow, we'll immediately send them for a PCR to confirm the test result. If that's what the government guidance is, as it currently stands, a lateral flow is good enough to be used. The quarantine period is usually 8 days, but in the UK you can test release at 5 days, so 5 days.
So that's for quarantine. For isolation for a negative after a negative test, it's currently at 7 days, and that's reduced. So it's currently at 7. It was at 10 days, and that is reduced to 7 days. However, now it can be 5 days as long as you've had 2 negative lateral flow tests. You can then stop your isolation period. But I mean, just on that point, that has changed 3 times since December. So the rules and the regulations around isolation are ever changing, and obviously we'll keep you up to date. But yeah, at the moment it's 5 or 7 days plus 2 negative. Well, after 2 negative lateral flow tests. If students are still testing positive after 7 days, they have to continue isolating until they have 2 consecutive days worth of negative lateral flow tests.
Perfect. Last question was about the refund. So students can cancel for up to 10 working days for any reason, and they'll receive a full refund minus the deposit. And so that's just for you guys. And
yes,
how
absolutely.
many? Yep. How many students do we have in each centre, please?
So in terms of our terms and conditions around refunds and cancellation, you're absolutely correct. It's up to 10 days before, and you can see our full terms and conditions on our dates and fees sheet, as well as on the booking application form. So they're available on the website. And in terms of numbers of students, the honest answer is we don't know yet. We don't know how many students we're going to have at each centre. What we do know is that it's very unlikely that all of our centres will be running at full capacity. So there will be, we're planning and sort of forecasting for them to be quieter than usual. Oxford will be the largest centre. We can have up to sort of between 300 and 400 students a week. We're not expecting to have that many this year. Frensham, the capacity is 170. Again, we're expecting it to be much lower than that. And Moulton is a smaller centre, so it's sort of around 100 to 150 students per week. And ultimately, yeah, we don't know. We hope that we'll have enough students to run sort of meaningful programs and have a good nationality mix. But given the uncertainty around international travel and restrictions, it's impossible to make that call at the moment.
And then the last question surrounding spring young learners.
Yes, sorry again, I was meant to mention that at the beginning. So the whole focus of the presentation has been on summer, and that's because we had to make the difficult decision to cancel spring programs this year. Traditionally, only a few markets travel in sort of March, April time for our spring courses. We were only planning on running a small course at Frensham for 2 weeks. However, certain markets are unable to travel this year. And the markets that are unable to travel, we're still very nervous around traveling in spring, particularly given the way COVID is in their countries at the moment. However, the positive news is the majority of those students have decided to postpone until the summer, so they still will be coming to one of our courses this year.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. So thank you everyone for joining us. If you've got any other questions or anything, please feel free to contact your market manager, or feel free to just email us. You can contact us at sales@ihlondon.com. And yeah, let's look forward to a successful summer this year.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. And yes,
thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.